Hello, I'm ASOS. Welcome back to Transportation to the Other Side. I'm praying to the Lord Jesus I don't have to record this again, but I really want to apologize for my dogs. You're going to constantly hear them bark. And all I have to say is if you own a Pomeranian, you will understand the struggle of this that you're hearing at the current moment. But this is besides the point, besides the video. I'm also sorry for the quality of this video. I am not a professional and I will never pretend to be a professional. Even if, let's say, I do this for years, I will never pretend to be a professional because you know what? I ain't no professional. You get what you get and you don't complain. That's all I got to say. Amen. I was thinking, are national parks haunted? Because I'm a historian and I'm very, very passionate about indigenous culture. I'm very interested in the injustices the indigenous people suffer from. I'm very interested in uncovering the truth about what the United States has done to indigenous Americans. And I'm also really curious about, you know, what do our national parks look like because they were off the hands and often blood of indigenous people. And as I was doing a huge deep dive into national park about it, and it's like a lot of indigenous people have died within national parks. A lot of people died in national parks. There's a whole campaign by Debbie Holland about, missing and murdered indigenous people within these national parks. People even talk about, I forgot which national park it is, but there's one national park that covers two states. And within one state, there's this part where they call it the dead zone because if you go missing or murdered in that section, a lot of times nothing's going to happen for you because of that section not being very regulated. So I was thinking to myself, let's go to the other side of national parks, away from the beauty and the glory and everything that people think of when we think of national parks. Throw that away. Throw that away because national parks are actually scary. They have a lot of dark history. And when I went to the internet to figure this out, okay, keep up with me also, okay? I went to the internet to try to figure out, are national parks haunted? Are there anything unexplained that happened within national parks? Are there stuff that are paranormal? Are there stuff that are demonic? Are there things that happen within these national parks that we should be aware of that, are part of the indigenous culture, part of the mistreatment of indigenous people, regular Americans being harmed in national parks? What goes on within national parks that is just absolutely shocking? And what I found was a whole bunch of Google search that talked about 7 haunted national parks from Sherman Travels, the NPCA.org, haunted national parks, 6 ghostly getaways, 9 spooky national park sites, 13 spooky stories from the haunted national parks, 8 creepiest places within national U.S. national parks from Tree Hunt. Travel Channel even has something. Um, and then the Discovery has some. So let's see these. So let's the Grand Canyon has in store for us. Within the Grand Canyon, it is reported that there was a 1956 airplane crash and it killed 128 people. So this has to do with everyday Americans, and people report seeing eerie lights from the site of that crash. Now, there's also a story of a wandering woman within the park on Transport Trail. I probably said it right. Wrong. Right. I did not say that right. I said it wrong. Transipit Trail, I believe. It says that she's dressed in white with blue flowers and she's repeatedly been spotted in by park rangers and hikers. I felt like a dog. She killed herself after discovering her husband and son perished in a hiking accident, and her lonesome spirit has just been roaming around. All right, let me tell you about Great Smoky Mountains National Park because you're gonna be so mortified when you find out about this national park. You're probably gonna be terrified. This is probably why they keep it a secret. I'm just letting you know. There is 150 known cemeteries and 4,727 graves within the confines. Which, so I'm embarrassed as a historian. I think I was too shocked about the number of bodies within Great Smoky Mountains National Park, but I found out that it's along the Trail of Tears, so it makes a lot of sense that there's that amount of death within that national park and why what I'm about to tell you about this national park happened, and it makes so much sense with the history of that land in that area because it was taken from um, the Cherokees, and it was taken from a lot of those tribes within the Tennessee and the North Carolina area. Those tribes were forcibly removed during the Trail of Tears. So, if you're wondering why there's so many dead bodies, it is because of the Trail of Tears. I apologize for my stupidity. Basically states that when you hike there, when you go camping there, while you're enjoying your lovely vacation with your family, you're within centimeters of burial grounds. And yeah, a lot of people see spirits and a lot of people see things because this is a grave site. There is a Cherokee legend of a old witch, and she disguises herself, kind of like Hansel and Gretel. That's kind of what you think when you hear the story. Kind elderly woman who lures children away from their village, and at which point she will cut their livers out to eat. So that's a Cherokee legend within the confines of the area. Next, they talk about an old settler who was killed while searching for his daughter in the woods near Norton's Creek Trail. It is claimed that his spirit still roams and provides light for those who lost their way. So there's a gravesite. Lovely. Next, we're going to go to Yosemite National Park, which Yosemite National Park is probably the worst incident for Native Americans ever because it was a whole killing campaign, but we will not get into it. Anyways, there has been no shortage of legends and myths, and if you believe in such tales, it's just to be warned. But we're not scared of anything over here. And if you are scared of something, I'm very terribly sorry to keep scaring you about national parks, but tomato life's truly a nightmare. There is a legend of Pohono. Oh, Pohono. No, 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 no. An evil wind spirit that traps victims in the water. And it's said to lurk in the Bridal Valley Falls, a park attraction that is coincidentally prone to accidents and deaths. The legend of Pohono is a big no, no, no. Then there's a ghost at a lake that was reported in 1857 by Yosemite's earliest park ranger. He made a distress call. Jesus, take the wheel. And he believed to be a dog. A local indigenous person warned him not to go towards the town and that it was a spirit of a drowning boy who likes to lure people. Lure. I don't know how to say that word. Don't ask questions. I swear I'm an adult. People to the lake shores to drown them underwater. There is also, okay, this is my point of, okay, listen. Land is haunted. You can alter the land. You can do whatever you want to the land. If the land is tainted, the land is tainted. Okay, it's going to take a lot to get rid of whatever it was tainted with. Okay, so here's the story. Goes to Camp 6. A man hanged himself and can be seen from the rafters in the middle of the night. The camp has been turned into a parking lot, but people still claim to see a spirit roaming. Again, don't do it. Okay, so that was those stories. I want to see what the Travel Channel has about this because the fact that the Travel Channel reported on this, is going down, okay? Is going. Oh, look, they have Yosemite Park again. There was a murder, and there's a headless ghost that has been spotted by visitors. Wow! So there was an actual murder within the park where somebody got beheaded. That is scary. So now they're saying that the Upper Blue Lake campground within Yosemite gives way to a steep feat where the shores of Grassy Lake often ripples the California sun. And while it's a favorite for backpackers, it produces some of the most unusual images ever. They say late at night, campers have reported phantom cries coming from beneath the waters. They begin with gurgle, and crescendo into an unmistakable wail of despair and cry for help. There is a legend far back than Yosemite Park itself as oh, here's the one that I was telling you about. where he joined where that park ranger we talked about before. Yeah, so this is the full story the Travel Channel gives on this one. He says that Travel Channel says that it's about the sound, and that's when they told him that Native Americans believe in the legend about not to listen to those sounds. Just have Yosemite Park on here. What a waste. Let's see what the NPCA, the National Park Services themselves say about ghost stories. Okay, so this one's Olympic National Park. Also, when your own website talks about how haunted your place is, it's going down. That's all I got to say, okay? So, they say Lake Crescent or Crescent, however you want to say it, is the site of several mysterious disappearances and accidents. That's why I'm telling you there are people that go missing in national parks all the time, and we just don't talk about it. It's none so chilling as the Lady of the Lake in 1940, where two fishermen discovered an unusually well preserved body floating on the surface of the 12-mile wide lake. Deep water chemicals had turned her skin hard, waxy, and her face was not recognizable. Rope, ropes were tied around, and marks on her body eventually helped authorities convict somebody for murder. But ghostly sights are common among visitors and locals alike, particularly around Spruce Railroad Trail and Lake Crescent Lodge, formerly the tavern where Lingworth worked. Now, this is the Indiana Dunes National Park in Indiana, of course. So visitors report spirits of Diana of the Dunes. Why does that sound so terrifying, but such a good saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a perfect name for it. I love it. Sorry again. I'm immune to this stuff. Okay, so it says that this lady was working the ecology of the dunes and riding, hiking, and often occasionally frolicking in the waves. Sailors reported her out in the mermaid. So sometimes she was called like Nympho of the dunes, and some were calling her like this Roman goddess of the wilderness. Anyways, she died of kidney failure, and before the area was protected by the national park site in 1966, Gray is a direct reason the land is protected. The park honors the memory of her, a challenge for visitors to associate Gray to see the park through their eyes. So people basically go to this place to try to see things through her eyes, but let's all be real, it's probably haunted. Let's get Yellowstone. Okay, so it says the most famous story from Yellowstone is the Headless Bride. In a white dress walking down from the crow's nest while carrying her head. So that's Yellowstone, but Cascadia National Park. It's saying that the desert island is a sea cave known to the devil's oven. What the is an oven? What the hell's an oven? It sounds like oven. It's weird. It's saying that strange and mysterious places since humans have arrived, and legends tell of a portal to the underworld. Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense, especially when I'm looking at these pictures and these images. Makes sense. So, the moral of the story is if you go to a national park and you go camping there, because I've done it for years, actually sit there and think to yourself, am I on a grave site? Were there dead bodies here or not? Really think about it. And am I disturbing somebody else's resting place? Because you have to remember that national parks are not that pretty. They do have a very dark side to them, and we should really be more aware of our surroundings. Jesus, take the wheel. I really think that the next time I go camping, I'm probably going to do a paranormal investigation and try to see if I can find anything. Now, you might laugh because people don't take paranormal shit serious anymore, and I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. But that's besides the point. So, thank you.